devices consume, so that they can really think more deeply, because physically, tangibly, when you're cycling, trying to generate, trying to pedal power to generate heat enough to boil a cup of tea, when you feel that physically, you feel that tangibly, wow, that's a lot of energy. And let me put it this way, it would need about 15 of you to actually boil a cup of tea. You're not going to do it on your own. Many people have tried, I've given them a system, off you go, and they maybe get it an extra 10 degrees, at which point they're like, no, I can't do this anymore. So it's a really, using a kettle to boil water is really one of the most ridiculously inefficient ways of boiling water. Electricity to heat, terrible idea. Anyway, so I can talk a lot about that. I can talk about all the kind of land-based things, whether it's growing, building houses, whether it's heating, cooling houses, making cook stoves. I make really fuel-efficient cooking devices that also produce biochar, which is a substance that you can then use to enrich your soil and make your soils richer for thousands of years, which you can also use that same substance to make refrigerators. You can use it to filter water. Thousands of things you can do with biochar. So I can talk a lot about that. And I guess the other area that I'm really passionate about is because I see how when people study permaculture, they get really good at understanding how plants and animals and water and everything interfaces and interacts and supports each other. They get really good at making the connections so that one thing leads to another, which supports another, but that same level of unity and real, this beautiful ecosystem that they can create with nature, that same level of depth of connection and love and compassion between people is quite often missing. So that their ability to understand how to really interface with other people and really take care of them. If we look at the basics of permaculture, earth care, people care, fair share, people care is also all about how do I meet my needs in a way that takes care of others, that enriches other people's lives. Or at the very, 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 very minimum, how do I meet my needs in a way that doesn't deprive someone else of their ability to thrive? But at the most beautiful side is how does it enrich other people's lives? So this is what permaculture is about. So it's in there. I say too often it's missing. People concentrate more on the food growing and really miss out on the human side. And for me, this is really problematic.
Can you tell me the three things again?
Care,
Sorry.
care,
People care.
Fair share.
Fair share.
Thank you.
I was in India once teaching, and this industrialist, he was connected. He was a friend of someone who was a really amazing botanist, and the botanist said, "Oh, go to this course." So he turned up, and he was really he was an industrialist, and he just decided he was going to go and become a farmer and use all of his science and what have you, background knowledge, to really grow food in a way that is absolutely optimized and maximum this and maximum that. And throughout the course, all the other people, and there were some really beautiful young people there, including one guy, I don't know, 18 years old, really quiet, really shy, very, very intelligent, really beautiful heart. And you can see the tension between everyone, because they're really into this flow of permaculture, and he's all about maximize profit, maximize profit, maximize profit. And we started to try and solve some of them. Then at one point he said, all right, okay, bits of this permaculture I get. I understand earth care. We need to take care of the earth, all right, fine. I understand people care, all right, yeah, we can, yeah, I mean, he would exploit people if he had the choice, but all right, I see none. He said, but I don't understand this third one. Fresh air.
Fresh air.
Yeah, earth care, people care, fresh air. Like, what? No, it's fair share. And honestly, the look on his face when he realised that what we're saying is whatever profits he makes, he should reinvest back into enriching other people's lives.
Yeah, and I bet it was no, I know.
Fresh air was
And they went for a walk to get some fresh air after that.
So you'll see there's so it's not fresh air, it's earth care, people care, fair share.
You get your fresh air while you do.
How is
Yeah,
it
they
that
already
we
opened them.
how is it we reinvest? How is it we design systems that continuously enrich themselves and have longevity? Nowadays, some people are transforming that and making that into future care. So how is it that systems, as say, have this longevity? That and so for me, in really simple terms, when I design my forest gardens, my low maintenance, biodiverse, rich food growing systems, for me there's a simple principle that I work by. 1/3 of whatever I grow is for animals. 1/3. 1/3 is for the soil. And by the soil, that's also enriching the soil, it's feeding the soil life, it's for regeneration to allow it to become really thrive. And 1/3 is for me.
If you're lucky.
Yeah, and if it's not, but nature is so abundant that working by that principle, you get so much food. I remember about 10, 12, 15 years ago teaching one of my students to say, in 10 years' time, and we just started designing a project for her in Bulgaria, and I said, in 10 years' time, the hardest thing you're going to have to work out what to do is, what do I do with all this food? And no lie, she was on a forum with Martin Crawford, is one of the most prominent forest garden teachers and designers, and he has a symposium, and she was on there as a speaker, and I don't know if she remembered what I said, but she used those exact words. She said, yeah, now 10 years into it, I have no idea, I can't give this much amount of food away to people. There's not enough people in our village to give this amount of food away to. So it's so rich, so abundant. And actually, if we look at where the inspiration from for making food forests came from, it's actually from places like India. It's the home gardens in India, in Kerala. It's the home gardens, I'm not sure what they call it, but up in Arunachal, up in the rain forests. It's from looking at places in Japan, in Indonesia, I think in Indonesia they call them pakarangan, which I don't speak Indonesian, but apparently translated it means the garden of perfect design, which is kind of nice. It's like meaning it's just perfectly balanced because all of your needs are there, but you do it with nature, so all the animals and insects and life is also there as well, supporting you. So you don't need to make manure.
Yeah.
Because nature is doing it for you.
Interaction.
You don't need to, interact with it so much. You don't need to dig, because using perennial plants, they just come back year after year after year after year. So, so these are all the kind of things I can talk about. And obviously I've started up, maybe that was a little bit longer than 5 minutes. But,
My interest is the low maintenance.
okay.
And,
So of those, what are the kind of things? So low maintenance